Hi everyone, David Aragona and Mike Beer here, taking a look at the DRF Friday race of the day. It is the fourth race at the Belmont at the Big A meet at Aqueduct. This one going a mile and a 16th on the turf course for the 3-year-old fillies. And fingers crossed this one can stay on the turf. There is some rain predicted between Thursday and Friday in the New York area. Not a ton of rain, so we'll see how much they do get at Aqueduct. But Mike, this is a pretty nice group of 3-year-old fillies signed on to go the two turns on the grass.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much potential in this race. I mean, the very lightly raced horses in particular, to me, David, they really seem like they could really start moving forward here in the next couple of months. The two horses you have as the shortest prices on the morning line, I mean, they both have a chance to be really good.
Yeah, those horses, the number 2 Serendipity and the number 7 Lavender Disaster, both won their debut races. Lavender Disaster did have a disaster in her second start. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Do note that the number 8 Cat Chat is a main track only entrant in this race. She'll only participate if this race does get rained off the turf. With this being the DRF race of the day, do note you can get free past performances for this race. Just create that free account at DRF.com and you can get access to all of the DRF race of the day's free PPs at the race of the day page. Let's take a look at the Timeform US pace projector for this Friday race of the day. And Mike, it does feel like the two horses drawn down towards the inside are the ones likely to go forward. Chad Brown does have the two entrants in here, and the number 1 Forward Deployed is putting blinkers on, so it wouldn't be a surprise to see her get an aggressive ride. And we know what we're going to get from the number 2 Serendipity. She showed a lot of early speed in her debut race.
Yeah, I feel like they're the two right ones to go forward here. I'll be interested to see. I know the blinkers are going on. I'll be interested to see if they want to go get aggressive with Forward Deployed again. You know, they sort of went forward with her in her last two starts. It didn't work out, but and I don't think she's really getting any class relief here, David. The two Serendipity had pretty easy speed in her debut.
I'll be interested to see how much Flavian Pratt leaves for position on the number 7 Lavender Disaster, because she is a horse that travels very strongly in her races, but not one that I would imagine they want to have vying for the front end in here. Let's go through this field from the rail out, beginning with that other Chad Brown trainee, Forward Deployed. And Mike, she's done some decent things in her career. She won her maiden race third time out at Gulfstream Park, got a good trip to get the job done that day, was just no match for Stakes Company of the Ginger Brew after that. They got her some class relief at Tampa Bay Downs last time. I personally didn't see a big excuse for her to fade at the end of that race. Now they're putting blinkers on. We'll see if that gets a little bit more early speed out of her.
She's just going to have to run better. It's not like she gets that was a pretty good allowance field that she faced last time, I thought, David, but things don't get any easier for her here. And to me, she just hasn't really run a race that suggests that she's going to turn out to be good. I mean, again, these Chad Brown horses, they kind of show you who they are pretty early on. I'm not sure how much improvement I'm expecting from this horse.
The number 2 Serendipity showed a lot of talent in her debut race down at Gulfstream Park. We'll take a look at the stretch run of that event, where she busted right out of the gate, got to a clear lead up front, and just never gave them a chance in this race. I mean, she didn't go that quickly up front, but you could see coming off the far turn here, she slowly ratchets up the pace and then really kicks away when she's asked to go by Joel Rosario, and finishes this race about 3.5 lengths in front of her rivals. Mike, she is cross-centered in an allowance race at Churchill Downs on Thursday, but she's stuck, I think, 4 deep on the also eligible list there. So I think they do have some incentive to ship her to New York if this race stays on the turf on Friday. And she's going to be a handful if she repeats or moves forward at all from that debut.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't seem like she's going to get in at Churchill, so maybe we will see her here. Yeah, I mean, listen, it was a visually impressive debut. I don't really want to knock it too much. I mean, she did. She got absolutely loose on the lead in there, David, and they never really made her race at any point in there. And you could see it in the video there, she had plenty left through the stretch, and she was impressive finishing that race off.
The number 3 Pookie looked like a horse that had some potential when she made her debut at Saratoga last summer. It just seemed like she really needed that race, was a little green, put things together in her second start when she broke the maiden at 7-1, going this distance at Aqueduct. Mike, they stepped her up into Stakes Company to conclude that 2-year-old campaign and didn't get the most comfortable trip in there, was a little wide around the turns, and the winner of that race is a pretty good one.
Yeah, absolutely. The Tepin last time, it makes her, to me, just makes her a really tough call in here, David, because I don't really feel like we found out too much about her in there. She didn't get the kind of trip that was going to allow her to be effective in that race. So I don't really know how much better she could have done with a better trip in there. To me, that just makes me want to leave her open, because I really did like her first two starts, and I just feel like you have to give her a pass for the last one.
Yeah, I think there's potential with her. She's probably going to be a fair price in this race. I just wasn't sure I really wanted to take her first off the layoff for a barn that doesn't always have them cranked up for the first start of their campaigns. The number 4 is Obesant, one of the 2 Todd Pletcher trainees in this race. They sprinted her on debut at Gulfstream Park and it just seemed like she was a little outrun most of the way, but they stretched her out to the 2 turns last time. We'll take a look at the stretch run of that race, and she saved some ground early, but you could see they swing her to the far outside of the top of the stretch, and she really kicks in to mow this field down. Like, I don't really know what she was beating in this race. The third place finisher did come back and won, but she beat Maiden Claiming Company. So I'm a little iffy on the quality of this field, but this was a visually impressive win.
Yeah, I have the same concerns you do about the quality of the field she's beating here. But man, this is how you want to see them beat them, even if it's a weak field. I mean, even I liked her debut, David, just because she didn't look like a sprinter to me, but she actually did some racing in there. Did a lot of chasing, tried
Mhm.
really hard, but it just seemed like that was too short for her. She really moved forward last time. Of the 2 Pletchers, I much prefer this one.
And the other Pletcher runner is just to her outside, the number 5, Capturing. She won on debut at Gulfstream Park and got a very good trip that day. That was a race where I thought she was a little lucky to win, Mike, because
Mhm.
some other horses did not get ideal trips in that spot. They came back for an allowance race last time, and she just kind of sat on the rail most of the way, tried to angle out at the top of the stretch, couldn't really kick with the winner. It was a fine performance, but I don't get necessarily the same upside with this one.
Yeah, I don't either. You know, when I watched her most recent start, I thought her debut was fine, but I'm with you. I kind of feel like she maybe was lucky to hold on there. As I watched the first maybe half mile or 3 furlongs of her last race, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to give this horse some extra credit because I don't know why Bravo was intent on conceding the lead in there, but he was, and of course he got wired by the horse that won the race. But she still didn't run that well to me after that, David. She didn't make me feel like she was super unlucky.
Yeah, I think you make a good point about her. She does break pretty well, and I think they have the option to go forward with her if they want to, but they've elected not to do so in the first couple starts of her career. The number 6, Rare Art, is a horse that is looking to get back to some of her better form from her 2-year-old season because this is a horse that did show some real promise at Saratoga last summer and then going into the fall where she just missed in the Chelsea Flower Stakes to conclude her 2-year-old campaign. But Mike, both starts so far as a 3-year-old have been pretty disappointing.
Yeah, she really hasn't, at least as of yet, taken the step forward that you would want to see her take. I mean, I didn't think she got a great trip off the layoff there at Gulfstream, so I was, willing to be lenient about that one. Just didn't really do that much last time, David. I mean, I felt like she had a clear shot to at least be involved at the end of that race, and she just wasn't good enough. Maybe third off the layoff, she'll move forward.
Yeah, I was hoping to see a bigger excuse in the last race because, as you said, you can excuse the first off the layup, but the last one kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. The number 7, Lavender Disaster, is a horse that was pretty impressive, winning on debut last fall at the Aqueduct when she delivered as the 3-5 favorite. We'll take a look at the stretch run of that race, and she's got to make a little room for herself coming to the quarter pole here. She tries to angle outside, kind of bowls her way out, but as soon as she gets into the clear, she unleashes a turn of foot to put this field away. Like, she came back in her second start, the Miss Grillo, drew a pretty wide post position, 10 in a 12 horse field. And it might look like it was a disaster on paper. And I think it was a disaster on the racetrack when you watch the trip of that race. But I don't think this filly necessarily lost anything at defeat, given the major excuse that she had.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it probably sounds crazy and maybe even stupid to say it, but when you watch the replay back, I'm not so sure that she wasn't going to win that race. Was that field came to the stretch? I mean, she was getting ready to start rolling off the turn there, and a horse just totally wiped her out. Listen, Chad had a lot of good 2-year-old fillies last year. This really might have been right up there with all of them. Her debut was impressive. She looked like she was really going to run in the second one. Chad tends to bring him back ready off the layoff too.
Yeah, it was actually her stablemate that wiped her out that day. As
Yeah.
the horse that was leading on the front end just started to bear out to the quarter pole and just bolted to the far outside. And unfortunately, Irad decided to pop out to start to make the move just as that horse bolted. So it took Lavender Disaster completely out of the race. We'll see if she can get back on track off the layoff here. Let's go to our picks for this Friday race of the day, Mike. And I think we're both going to land with that Chad Brown runner drawn to the outside. She just showed so much potential on debut. And if she can take that step forward as a 3-year-old, she's going to be tough here.
Yeah, that's how I looked at it too. And between the 2 favorites, particularly David, I'm not so sure that Serendipity isn't really good, but I just feel like she has way more to prove because as impressive as she was winning her debut, she just had such a soft trip that I kind of feel like I need to make her prove it to me again against a better field.
Both Mike and I have Lavender Disaster on top, 7-2-3-6 for me, 7-4-3-2 for Mike in the DRF Friday race of the day, race 4 at Belmont at the Big A. Good luck if you're playing the races later this week.